Okay guys, I'm making a video today. I'm going to go ahead and start a video where I'm going to do an axe and a knife at the same time. The axe is a $2 axe that I found at a garage sale. It's an Orland axe, and we're going to start the cleanup on it. And the knife is an old hickory knife that I found at the same, or I should say I found the axe at a flea market, found the found the knife at the same exact flea market, paid $5 for it. I'm going to go ahead and purchase a handle for the axe. It'll probably be $3 to $5, I'm guessing. I will let you know what that costs when I get it. But we're going to do a small series. It might be 1 or 2 videos on cleaning both of these up and rehandling the axe and cleaning up the knife and rehandle, or probably not rehandling it because the handle's still nice and tight on it. But we're going to go ahead and fix it up and make it kind of look like new, except I'm going to leave the patina on it. So anyways, the first part of this video I wanted to show you is I got this old butter dish, and there's nothing special about the butter dish except for it's disposable. And what I have inside this butter dish is 2 tablespoons of salt. I used pickling salt. I don't know if you can use salt with iodine in it. It probably doesn't even matter. But anyways, I put this in here with the salt. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the axe head and put it in here with the salt. And the next ingredient that I'm going to put in here is just plain old white vinegar from the grocery store. And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to pour it into this solution until it covers the axe head. Just like so. What the salt and the vinegar does is the vinegar's got acid in it, and the salt actually ups the acidity in the vinegar. So the two together make the acidity even higher than they normally would be. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm probably going to stir this until all the salts dissolve, and then all you got to do is leave it sit. And I may leave this sit anywhere from 12 hours to 3 days, depending on how long it takes. But okay, so I wanted to stop there and let it sit, and then I'll get back with you. Okay guys, I'm back again. The next thing I wanted to do was I wanted to while that axe is soaking in its vinegar over there, I wanted to do some little touch-ups to this knife. And if you look at it real close, right up here, there's a little knobby. And what it is whoever had this before me sharpened it, probably on a mechanical sharpener, and they never went all the way down to the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my vise, and I'm going to take a flat file and just knock this off, because it doesn't need to be there no more, and leaving it on there just makes it look like it just makes it look crappy. And the other thing I'm going to do is the end of this needs touched up a little bit too, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little touch up on it. So first thing I did was I set my vise up right here, and if you look at the vise, it's got a couple pieces of duct tape in it. And I did that just to protect the knife blade itself. So all you gotta do is you just clamp the knife blade in here, like so. And I mean, clamp down on it pretty good, and the duct tape keeps the blade from getting scratched. And then I just take a flat file and just start filing this top, and you just file it off until you get it to where you want it even with this. And I know this seems like really bad to do, but it's the only way to really get this thing back to where it should be. So, and it won't take much, and you don't want to take too much, so just kind of play with it and take a little bit at a time. And every once in a while I'll stop and eyeball it. And you know, a couple more swipes and it'll be there. And a little bit more. Just a hair more. So then after you get that all filed down, which it's pretty close, let me go ahead and finish this up and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. I'll be right back with you. Okay, so after you get it filed to where you want it, and all I did was I filed a little bit off of it, off this, and then I'd set it up, kind of eyeball it a little bit and file a little more off and eyeball it until I got it to where I wanted it to be. And if you look at it, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's pretty close. The blade runs right down into this real nice now. So the next thing I'll do is I will go ahead and take that same file and probably file each side of this on this edge until I get some of that heavy flat off. Because if you look now there's a nice big flat here where I filed that off, and that's got to all go because the blade on these knives always came down to this very edge. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. So I'll be right back with you and we'll go ahead and do that. Hi guys, so basically to get this knife edge back to where it should be, after I went ahead and filed this off here by hand, I took this knife and I stuck it down on my anvil like so, and basically I just I kept the profile that the knife already had, and which is kind of a Scandi grind, and I went ahead and I just ran along here just like so. And I'm not done yet, and it's going to take a little bit of time because this is a really hard piece of steel. The file's cutting it, but not very much. And so then I kept working on it and working at it until I got it back to about there. And it's not done yet, but it's close. So I'll work on this some more, and then after that I'm going to touch up this tip, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, so let me get back to you. Okay guys, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take some of this little bit of a nick out of the tip of this thing. I went ahead and I hit this thing with the flat file all the way along each side like so, and I took out, it had a secondary grind on it. I went ahead and did away with that because these old hickory knives were kind of almost like a Scandi grind. So it's almost gone now. The rest of it I'll take out with a stone when I do the final sharpening on it. But right now it's basically where I want it to be as far as getting rid of this. I might get rid of just a little bit more down here in this bottom because it doesn't look like it's quite there yet, but it's close. So anyways, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to touch up this tip and make it right. And how I'll do that is over here on the sander. So let me get this a little closer and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, so basically I'm just going to take this, I'm going to lay it on this piece of wood to hold it steady, and just very, very, very slowly touch it up on this stone. So now that I got that done, the only thing that's left is to basically sharpen the blade and then clean up the handle. So that'll be the next project, is cleaning up the handle, and then I'll sharpen the blade. Okay guys, well, I worked on the profile of this knife a little bit more, and I got it to about where I want it. And all I gotta do is just a fine sharpening on it now. It's not quite there yet. I mean, you can feel it's starting to get an edge, but not much of one. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to wrap this rag around it for right now so I don't accidentally cut myself, because it is starting to get a little bit sharp. And the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and sand this handle down and see what it looks like underneath there. Once I get the handle sanded down, then the knife is pretty much done other than a final sharpening. So I just sit here on my bucket and sand it for a few minutes. No big deal. All I'm trying to do is take out any nicks and imperfections in the wood. And what's nice about these old handles is it seems like they always give you enough stock where you can give it a good sanding and not even bother the actual profile of the handle or anything. And well, this being an old hickory knife, I'm almost sure that this is a hickory handle. So let me go ahead and sand this thing up a little bit, and I will get back to you. Okay guys, so I went ahead and sanded the handle down, cleaned up some of the rivets, and if you notice, it's got a grease mark here, and there's a grease mark here, and some other grease marks on it, probably from years and years of use, and you know, the grease from whatever they were cooking or cutting up or whatever, the oil from the animal's tallow or whatever just probably got sucked into the handle, and it's there forever as far as I'm concerned, because I'm not going to get too fancy with that. So now that the handle's all sanded, I started with a really heavy grit, moved down to a lighter grit, and then down to another lighter grit, and then down to another lighter grit sandpaper until I got it all sanded up. And the last thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go ahead and give it a coat of linseed oil. So the only thing I do is I take a little bit of linseed oil and pour it in my hand, just a dab of it. It doesn't take a lot. And then I just take the knife and go ahead and just rub it into the blade. And then I just use my fingers and I work it in. And I work on it until I get it all rubbed in really good. And like I said in the last video, if you get a little bit on the steel, it's no big deal, because it makes a good rust protectant anyway. But yeah, you just keep working it in here, keep rubbing it until you get it to suck in everywhere. And at this point, other than a final sharpening, this knife is done. We'll have to give it one final sharpening, and we could call the knife part of this project done. So right there is what it looks like, all done. Right there is what it looks like, all done, other than the final sharpening, which won't take much at all. And there you go, one $5 knife. And we will get the $2 axe done here for about 10 or 12 bucks, and we'll end up with a pretty nice cutting set. So let me shut this video off, and I'll get back to you as soon as the axe gets done soaking. Okay guys, we're going to go ahead and stop here, and we're going to divide this video into a couple of parts, because it's kind of running long and I want to keep them around 10 minutes or so a piece. Anyways, we're going to just divide it up and see how we get. And this is the knife and axe video, so you know, when it's all done, we should have a couple great tools for bushcraft on a budget too. I mean, very cheap tools for under 12 bucks probably. I think I've located a handle for the axe, and it's going to cost probably 4 bucks, I think. So anyways, I'll get back to you. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like the videos, like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for the next part.